Okay. So it's not completely night, which is really good because today was a special day, still a special day, and we'll bring it tomorrow. First of all, I want to thank. Well, what's your nickname? RZ. That's your artist. Like, how do you want to be known by? Super RZ.
Mac and cheese and RZs. Didn't give up on the mac and cheese, no matter what.
Thank you. No. Thank you for having all of us and inviting me.
What an honor and so good.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Special Chashuv Olam here, and I want to also have it dedicated to your brother. It's what his name is again. Yaakov David Ben Yechezkel, his neshama shel Aliyah, and also we want to dedicate it to what Yahrtzeit was today. Anybody knows? Today was the Arizal. It's Yahrtzeit. Yeah, hey, it's the Kabbalah day, man. Today, now we're still in it. That's why.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Yeah,
Today.
that's right. Yeah, we're connected. We're connecting the day, so we bring along the kedusha of that day. So it's a very special day, the 5th of Av. Yeah, Arizal's Yahrtzeit. Maybe we can just go quickly on just saying the name so I know who everybody is. I don't remember all the names, and but everybody like that will know what name. What's your name?
Leah.
Hi, Leah. Just say for where you're from also. From Teaneck?
I'm from Teaneck.
Yeah. All right. Hi.
Sarah from Toronto.
From Toronto. Wow. Thank you for coming all the way here for the class.
All the way from Toronto.
Of course. Okay.
I've been telling you about your shiur.
From Muncie?
I've been telling you about the shiur
Yeah,
that I'm doing here, right? Just a meeting to come, right?
Yes, totally.
Of course. Duh. Her neshama you. Okay.
Neon from Clifton.
Lifted.
Oh, Clifton. Okay. Hi, Yoel. From Brooklyn. All right. That's far also.
Yehuda from Flatbush.
Yehuda from Flatbush. All right. Nice to meet you. Ellie from Flatbush also. You in the big chair.
Oh, I'm David from Teaneck.
David from Teaneck.
Teaneck. I can. Teaneck.
Aliza from Teaneck.
Okay. I'm Rachel RZ from Teaneck.
All right.
Yeah, Teaneck wins.
Okay, so
The second comes strong.
and I'm not on the picture anymore. I'm Rabbi Gutmacher, or Rabbi G, or the French rabbi, or whatever you want to call me, from Buena Pomona Monsi, originally from France. And I'm very excited to be sharing that special moment with you because today you're going to become real Kabbalists. Oh, wow, all right. Or at least on the beginning of becoming a Kabbalist, and that's why I brought all those Kabbalistic items. With David, we were trying to create a whole movement called the 5th element. I'm sure some of you heard it. The 5th element basically is taking all 4 elements that exist in the world, right? The whole world is made out of 4 main elements: fire, water, air, and dust. And man is the combination of all those things, and with his neshama, he has the ability to elevate all those 4 elements. And basically, we are the 5th element that can unite and elevate all those elements. And that's a bit what we're going to talk today. But today, we spoke about it in the past, but today we're going to make it practical. How to work on those elements, and we're going to see what those elements mean. And really, that's the beginning of becoming a Kabbalist, because in the beginning of the book called Share Kedusha, for the Gates of Holiness, one of my favorite books that changed my life, written by the student of the Arizal, basically reporting all the teachings of the Arizal directly. And he speaks about that, how at the beginning you have to work on those elements which correspond to character traits, which we're going to elaborate soon. And basically, as you work on yourself, you are able to achieve a real spiritual level and eventually become like our friend David, always speaking to God. And but yeah, you'll be able to achieve a level where you're gonna feel God in your life and as part of your life. So this is the goal. And when we set up the day, I didn't realize it was the Arizal. No, yeah, and then.
And we actually think this was good for store for it to come today.
That's right, because Wednesday and Thursday were not.
Right. You couldn't. It was. Of course. What else? So God is directing us and with us, and it's very exciting. And the Arizal, I'm sure, is here. And so I just want to say 2-3 words about the Arizal before we start. Who he was? Anybody knows who the Arizal was? Or let's go and say, who doesn't know who the Arizal was? Okay. You don't know, like you heard about him, yeah. So just in very short, there was a whole transmission of Kabbalah starting from Adam Arishon, the first man, continuing through the generations with Avraham, and then his sons, and then at Har Sinai there was a whole new transmission of Kabbalah that came with the Torah, because the Torah was given on 4 different levels. The 4th level of interpretation was the Sod, the Kabbalah, and little by little, then it got transmitted to the Anshe Knesset Agdola and all the prophets. That's how the prophets achieved prophecy, by understanding the ways of Kabbalah. Then it was recorded, a lot of it, in the Talmud. Actually, the Talmud is one of the most Kabbalistic texts, but because people don't necessarily read it on the different levels, they don't know that the Talmud is Kabbalistic. The only place that I think it's really Kabbalistic is on the Gemara Chagiga, on the 2nd Perek, where it speaks about things that you don't really understand what it speaks about, so you really clearly think that's Kabbalah. But the Talmud is full of Kabbalah, it's just on the simple level. It's written on a simple level so that we don't, so that we get guided on order how to understand it properly. And then there was, the main big figure was the Ramban, and most Kabbalists agree that the true Mesorah of Kabbalah goes, if I say words in Hebrew that are not understood, Mesorah means transmission. So I don't know, I'm used to speak to all different types of groups, and I don't know the different levels here, so of Hebrew and whatever, yeshivish talk, whatever. So anyway, so the Rambam was the main one to transmit the Kabbalah, and then the main text of Kabbalah that was preserved and known as the Kabbalistic text was the Zohar. Okay, the Zohar, and we know from so many commentaries that the Zohar is the book that is gonna bring the redemption, and that we have to learn in order to hasten the redemption and fix the world, living the Zohar, understanding the Zohar, teaching the Zohar. And after that, so the first one that really came after the Ramban and that really was able to, for the first time, decode the secrets of the Zohar was the Arizal. Before that, the Zohar was pretty cryptic, and maybe even misunderstood. That the Arizal, with it, just after the Ramak came and gave a whole system of the Zohar that enabled people to understand the Zohar in a way that it was never understood before. And from the Arizal on, most Mekubalim, I believe also the Chaim Vital explained that from then the wisdom of Kabbalah was meant to be spread all over, and studied more and more and more. Obviously, when something very holy starts to spread, there's always tremendous opposition from the other side, the Sitra Achra, the forces of the evil, the powers of Tuma. Those things really exist. We don't necessarily, think that it's connected to our everyday life, and that it's only in the movies, all those horror stuff. Those stuff really exist, but not in the ways, obviously, the movies bring it out. But the concepts are real, and that's why just during that time, in the 1500s, you had the whole thing with Shabbatai Tzvi, which put the Kabbalah in a very negative light. Rabbi Shabbatai Tzvi was someone who thought he was Moshiach, and who was a big Mekubal, and he brought people back to Israel. They thought he was Moshiach and all that, and he thought himself he was Moshiach, until the Muslim told him, you need to convert to Islam. And he said, okay. So obviously, to have a Muslim Moshiach for the Jews, it doesn't work so well, right? Although we have a lot of similarities, it's not the proper way. So anyway, because of that, people said, oh, you see what Kabbalah does, it pushes people away and make it confused. And yes, we have to be careful, but the truth is that it's one of the tricks of the Yetzirah for us to not study it. And today in the Yeshiva world, it's you can see how it is something that people are very scared of. And say you can learn it before you're 40 and before you know all the Talmud and whatever. Which, if you study all the introductions of Kabbalah, you see that this is not true. Obviously, you should have a good teacher who has a Mesorah, and you should read from the right books and learn the right material. But you have to be careful. Yeah.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think all of the major famous Rabbanim who did learn Kabbalah all learned it and even passed away before the age of 40.
Right.
So was there anyone that started at 40 or even made it to 40?
Yeah, no, there's a lot who made it to that. No, there's a lot of all the Lubavitchers, the Daimish, all the Baal Shem Tov.
I've only really ever heard, at least the mainstream ones, that they learned it before 40. And
a lot of them. 40. Well, because the Ramchal and the Arizal, himself, the Rabbi Chaim Vital. No, Rabbi Chaim Vital actually lived long, if I remember. So it's just a few, but we always speak on those things to, Right. No, I believe those people, if they would have achieved 40, they were so much high level that they would have achieved a stage so big that people would not have been ready to receive their Kabbalah. That's the same way Moshiach, we are not ready to receive Moshiach, right? So they were not ready to be revealed.
Wow.
When Rabbi Shimon Yochai wrote the Zohar, and when he passed away, he had seven people at his grave. He didn't have a minion to say Kaddish at his grave. Yeah. Now, how many people do you have at his grave today?
Billion.
More than anybody in the world every year. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is an amazing thing that Rabbi Shimon Yochai was a hidden one, and he said, God, why am I doing all that? Nobody cares. Nobody knows who I can teach. Right? He had just a few select students who couldn't understand. But now he looks down and he sees how everybody, right?
Everyone goes to their
Millions, and how many people study the Zohar, and how many, the whole Kabbalah is the Zohar. So we realize that, sometimes we feel things are hidden and not right, not fair, it's not important, and realize later on that really Hashem had a plan, as usual. Okay, so the Arizal was someone extraordinary. He was one of the greatest Kabbalists ever in the whole of history. Just mentioning some of the stuff he could do that the Rabbi Chaim Vital described. He could look at you and look at your face, the line of you on your forehead, or the Chokhmat Partzuf, which is the trace, the lines on your head and your hands, and he could tell you what you did in the past, what's your mission in this world. He could understand the language of the animals, the chirping of the birds, revealing secrets. He will be able to go to the graveyard, like in Sfat. Most of the graves that are there with the names is thanks to the Arizal, because he could see where there was still a remnant of the soul of the person who died, and he could see and say that's where this person is buried. And that's what we know nowadays. So many people, so many prophets, thanks to the Arizal, who was able to feel the neshama connected to the bones, right?
An earthquake, right? It removed all the graves.
That was something else. Yeah,
And then he was able to say that's
right.
what it was.
So that was another thing. Another thing that he could do was, he could go in the yeshiva shel Mala, meaning he could let his soul he will meditate, and his soul will go in the spiritual world, in the Pardes, just like Rabbi Akiva did, and he will go study there and be taught by the Tanaim or the Avos, whatever. There's many stories, and he was taught, and he will come back and then teach something that he had learned there. A very famous story about him that for me it's like amazing. It's not just a story. It's a real fact that one day he was teaching the students and he zoned out, so to speak. He zoned off, and he went into a meditation phase, and he went up, and he for I don't know, it was 2-3 minutes, and then he came back to himself, and he was like, whoa, like he had learned. You could see that something had happened. He had learned something or received something, and the students told him, like, Rebbe, please, what happened? He said, I went in the yeshiva shel Mala, and they told me something amazing, secrets that you cannot even believe. So say, please teach us. Say, you don't understand. For the 2 minutes that I learned, it will take me 80 earth years for me to be able to teach it to you.
Wow.
Okay, so we're speaking a level of neshama, a level someone who is on the level where it transcends time, transcends limitations of the physical body, he could see a person and know what reincarnation you are, and why you came back, what you have to fix, and what's your mission. So those.
Who can tell us that now?
Sorry.
Who can tell us that now, please?
There's a few people, but they're usually hidden.
Take Rabbi G's card.
Yeah.
No, not me. Certainly not me.
Even,
I'm far from there.
they
Maybe.
wouldn't tell it, right?
Sorry.
Even if someone could, they wouldn't.
Right.
Would they?
In extreme situation, well, first of all, if that person asks for money, run away from them.
First
Yeah.
But there are certain Mikubalim who are hidden, and you have to know someone that knows where he hides in Sfat or in Yerushalayim. And usually simple people, they look more simple, like you and me.
Unassuming.
Yeah,
People that
unassuming.
you think probably aren't really doing much in life.
Yes. So anybody who tells you I'm a Kabbalist, you know they're not a Kabbalist. And yeah, but
Read your
that,
fortune for $500.
and anybody who tells you I am a Kabbalist, so I want to make things clear, I am not a Kabbalist, okay? So don't ask
But
me.
doesn't that mean that you
No,
are?
no, it doesn't.
Because you're saying that
It just means that I really know I'm not a Kabbalist. Okay, just in case you're wondering. So for me, the reason, although I know very little, for me it's always, the Rav Noach Weinberg Yahrtzeit says, you know one word, you teach one word. So there are certain things each one gets, and gets his own personal touch on it, his own personal twist, so to speak, and therefore it's important to share it. So today we're gonna read a little piece from Sha'arei Kedusha, which is connected to the 4 elements, and I want then to have you start practicing the 4 elements and get it done. So that we can purify the 4 elements that we have. Okay, so let's go. Let's start. So we're reading from the first, from Sha'arei Kedusha, the Gates of Holiness, first perek, chapter 2. And okay, so this is I want to go straight because time flies. I'm going to read you straight from the English because at this place the translation is pretty okay. Okay, so it says like that. So before he says you have the 4 elements, and the 4 elements correspond to Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, right? The name of Hashem. Everybody's familiar with the name of Hashem. Hashem created the world with His name. His name is the DNA, is the map, is the code in which the world is made with. So the reason why there are 4 elements is because there are 4 letters of Hashem's name, and each one represents a different level. So the Yud represents the fire, the He represents the wind or air, the Vav represents the water, and the He represents the earth.
Can you hear? Please.
What? Oh.
I'm not sure if it's just me, but I'm right talking about AC.
You want me to speak louder?
Or turn off the AC, is that an option? Or it's way too hot for that.
Whatever is best for you.
I'll leave it.
Okay, I'll try to speak a bit louder.
You can make it lower.
Or if
You leave it on, just like make it lower, I guess.
Well, I thought it was like that. Maybe it's great right?
if you make it close,
That's the temperature, not the fan.
Make it lower.
yeah. So, okay. So, perfect. And just to,
It's so cold.
It's not going to really end up being that temperature.
okay.
There are about 7 bodies in here. It's going to.
So it says like that. Let's go back and explain the 4 elements of the character traits. Okay. So the way it works, you have the foundation soul, Nefesh Yesodit, right? The foundation soul, which people might call it Nefesh Abahamit, foundation soul, and then you have the spiritual soul, the soul connected to the head, that we should connect to mitzvot. So he says, first you have to fix your foundation soul for your mitzvot to work, and that's connected to what you were saying before about love and all that. If you don't have the midas, the foundation, all your mitzvot, they go to the klipot, right? So he says like that. You should know that all the bad character traits have their roots in the evil side and in the klipot of the 4 stairs, of the 4 parts of the foundation soul, which I just spoke about. Therefore, all the bad character traits are divided into 4 types. Okay? So these are the 4 types. The element of fire, right, Esh, which corresponds to the Yud of Hashem's name, is the most powerful, the most destructive, or the most powerful, you can say, in terms of purification also. So, but here we speak about the negative part. He says like that: the element of fire is the lightest and highest element. It is the source of arrogance, haughtiness, which is called vulgarity. It includes anger, chaos, right? For a haughty man becomes angry when his wish is ignored. Okay? So he's telling you, now, I forgot to mention, all your character traits, they're all derivative of those 4 root traits. Meaning that someone, let's say, has a problem with being lazy. Someone has a problem with being in a bad mood. Someone has a problem with eating disorder, with I don't know, running after certain pleasures, or all those things. If you want to fix it, you have to go to the root, right? Unfortunately, like many bad doctors, they're gonna try to fix the symptoms, and they put a patch, and they make a lot of money with the medications. That's not how you get healed. That's how you prevent yourself from getting worse. He's telling you, I don't want you to just get, not to get worse, but I want you to fix yourself from the inside. So you purify yourself from the inside. So he's telling you all those 4 elements are gonna be able to fix all of the character traits. So he says like that: for a humble man knows his fault and does not get angry. So each time you get angry, now in the category of anger, there is frustration, upset, like you feel someone insulted you, and you feel not respected. This is because your element of fire has not been fixed, and something is flaring up the negative part of you that is connected to fire, and that's your ego, your arrogance. Now, we all get angry at some point, and that means we all have to work at it. And it's not talking just about someone who is angry and he screams and he breaks things. Where that will be terrible. He's talking about someone who is just also just angry, simply angry inside, upset, frustrated. And like he says, because in front of you, you're not accepting what is in front of you. You're not accepting what Hashem is saying, doing through the person or through the event. So, for a humble man, therefore we can conclude that haughtiness and anger are the same character trait. This character trait is the origin of all the 3 traits. So this is the root. The root of fire, what's going to fire is anger or arrogance. And from it, you're going to have people who are ill-tempered mind, which is the outcome of haughtiness as anger. Then you have the desire for power and honor. When you desire power or honor, is because you are suffering from arrogance or ego, from fire. And number 3, the hate towards a person who is more elevated than he is. If you're upset because that guy is doing so good, this vlog from Logan Paul, like he's on the top, why am I videos of Torah and Kabbalah not more popular than Logan Paul? Like what's wrong with this world? So if I hate that guy because of that, whatever, I think it's a bad example, but whatever. It's because I'm arrogant. Um, After he's going to explain how to fix it, the opposite. Okay, so that's the element of fire. Number 2 is the element of wind. The element of wind is the source of idle talk. Okay, wind is connected to the lungs, to the air. Has to do with talk. So unnecessary speech and talk of worthless things to the spirit and to the goof. So anything that you say that is unnecessary, that is not productive, that is not positive, is misusing your power of air, and therefore you're letting the negative element of air affect you. It is the source of 4 bad character traits: flattery, lies, lashon hara, and boasting. I think it's boasting. He calls it.
What was the last one?
Let me see. In the Hebrew. שקרים לא אולי, ולשון הרע, לשון הרע, ולגלוס שבחיו לבריות להסגד בפניהם. Yeah, and kind of flattery. He likes to have you boast yourself. You make yourself appear, about in front of others. Boasting, right? So that has to do with the element of fire, and it's connected obviously to what I don't remember. He's the Tana. Yes.
Oh,
No, with in the Pirkei Avos, it's in the second chapter that I think it's the son of Gamliel or Gamliel who said that I grew up among Chachamim and lo matzah. Lo matzah is good leguf, right? And didn't find anything better for the goof than silence, right? So there is extremely good quality with silence. Silence going to meditation. Shmoneh Esrei is silent for a very specific reason, and therefore we have to be extremely careful about that. Then there's the element of water. The element of water is a source of lust and enjoyment of physical pleasure. All the desires that we have that are negative usually are connected to water, right? If you go to the beach, there's a lot of desire out there. So water is unstable. It always takes the shape of where it is. So it is ripples effect. We are mostly made out of water. So if you have your little pinky who gets hungry, your whole body starts to get hungry very fast, right? If you look at that little piece of cake in the bakery there, and you continue walking, that look is enough that by next block your whole body wants it and you're going to go back, right? And that's the Gemara that says don't look even at the pinky of a woman, because if you look at the pinky of a woman out of desire, then you're going to want to look at everything else. All the stuff like that. That's the problem with the desire for pleasure. It's going to water, and water is very, it connects everything together, and the water is the source of all types of delights. It is the source of 2 bad character traits. So what comes out of water? The desire to steal the property and the wife of a friend and take pleasure in them, and the envy of a friend who possesses great property and the desire to take pleasure in it. Okay? So that's rooted in water. So when you see someone else, you say, I wish I had this car, this GTR, I want it, right? And yeah, exactly. So now, interestingly, you're allowed to desire to be to desire spiritual stuff from someone else. Let's say someone is a big Talmid Chacham. This you're allowed to be jealous of that guy, in a positive way, obviously, but not for his physical possession. And then the third, so that's the third element. Number 4, the element of earth. The element of earth is a source of sadness. Earth is the heaviest of all elements, and that's why when you're sad, you feel very heavy. When you start to get depressed, you have a hard time walking and carrying yourself. You just want to be in your bed and hide away from life and just sleep and die, never wake up. That's sadness, earth. You want to go back to earth. It is the origin of one bad character trait, laziness. So if you're lazy, usually it's a sign that you're a bit sad, that your element of earth needs to be reawakened, that you need to work on your happiness. Okay, and he's actually going to say that now, how to counterbalance those 4 elements. And he says laziness to observe the Torah and the mitzvot also, especially the Torah and mitzvot. You're lazy to serve God. That means you're not really happy. You don't really understand why you're here. You don't really understand that there is God and that what the mitzvot do. If you knew, you will pray and say Rofei Chol Amo Israel, and then 126 people will be healed because you just say Rofei Chol Amo Israel. Would you miss any Rofei Chol Amo Israel in your Shmoneh Esrei? Would you miss any Shmoneh Esrei? If you knew when you say Baruch Ata Hashem Goel Israel that you just saved a unit of Israeli soldiers in Israel, would you miss a Goel Israel? Right? When you say Mevarech Hashanim, if you knew that your Mevarech Hashanim gave 450 new jobs to poor people, would you miss any Barech Aleinu? Right? We don't realize the power of our mouth, the power of speech, and we will be tremendously happy and not lazy to do any other mitzvahs, because those mitzvahs, they change the world. It's not just magic. Something's really happening. So that's the importance of the element of earth. It is the sadness of a man who is not satisfied with what he has and always wants more, because he doesn't realize what he has. If we realize what we have, we will be really happy, but we don't realize what we have. That we have a soul, that it's a chelek Elokai mimal, that it's piece of God, and that we have powers. We're called Tselem Elokim. You ever ask yourself what we're called Tselem Elokim, the image of God? The Elokim means, we don't say Tselem Yud Kei Vav Kei, or Tselem whatever, any other name of God. Tselem Shakai. Right. We say Tselem Elokim because Elokim are the powers. Elokim means powers, right? So, yeah, Bereshit bara Elokim. Why you use Elokim? Because God created the world with Elokim, all the powers that exist.
It's the gematria of the laws of nature.
Yes, 91.
Those laws.
Yes. Yeah. And it's the combination of Yud Kei Vav Kei and Aleph Dalet Nun Yud. Wow. The Teva and the spiritual. And Hashem made the world with the powers, and Hashem made you Tselem Elokim, meaning that you have the ability to affect all the things that were created in this world because you're connected to the Elokim powers with which the world were created with. Okay, so it's an amazing concept. So that's the sadness that is caused by the worthless possessions of this world. So when you're happy because of a physical thing, then you're misunderstanding what happiness is. You should be you're allowed to enjoy certain things, but it has to be with a certain purpose. The Ramchal says all the pleasures of this world are meant to be used in order to connect to God. So if you use a pleasure and you don't use it to connect to God, then you're completely misusing the pleasure and you're just being selfish, right? Now, obviously, we all need to take care of yourself, and sometimes we need a little rest. But even a little rest, a little movie, a little suntan, a little this, that's fine as long as you are aware that you're using it as a relaxing tool, as a gift from God to help you, go to the next stage. Right, recharge, exactly. Thank you. Recharge is perfect word. Okay. Okay. So these four elements correspond to the four klipot of the Yetzer Hara, of the basic foundation soul, and their opposite. So now we speak about their opposite. How do you fix those four? What's the root good in it? The balance, because anything in this world is balance. So if you have 3 goods, then you need 3 bads. If you have, right, 10, so you have 10 sfirot that are holy and 10 sfirot that are unholy. So we have 4 evil traits and roots, and now we have 4 good traits. So which one are they? The first good trait, which corresponds to fire and anger, is humility, which is the source of humbleness. For the humble keeps away from anger, which is deprived from holiness. That means you have to work on being humble, right? Easy. No, not easy. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble man. That's why he was calling to element of fire. That's why he was the highest prophet. Fire is the highest element, and he was the most humble of all men. And he had the highest degree of prophet. So the idea is that the more humble you are, meaning the more you accept what Hashem is doing in front of you, whatever it is, if it's from human being or whatever, then you are becoming humble. Let's remember that one of the first time that Hashem got really upset at Moshe is because Moshe refused to do what Hashem wanted. Do you know better than Hashem? Moshe didn't want to replace his brother Aaron in taking the Jews out. But again, you're not accepting what Hashem, and Hashem got upset at him, right? And each time Moshe got angry, because he didn't listen to the exact plan of Hashem, right? So, humility, the source of humbleness, for the humble keeps away. Okay. The second good trait, which is corresponding to air, is silence, meaning being quiet. As a dumb one should keep his mouth shut, say only that what is necessary, and talk only about the Torah and the mitzvot. Right? So we should speak very little, only necessary words, only what's will give productive. Only what is necessary. That's really the most important thing. And then the third is the laugh of unneeded extra physical pleasure. All the pleasure that are unnecessary really and extra, then we should laugh at it. It's like, why should I use that? I'm wasting my time. I'm just being selfish. I'm just, okay, right, we're saying unnecessary. So the idea is that I have to laugh at them. It has to be ridicule to me. Why am I running after this? Why am I running after that? This is how is that going to make me a better person? How is that going to help me accomplish my mission? How is that going to make the world a better place? At the end, you realize it's empty and it's worthless. So yeah, you have to laugh at it. It's ridiculous. The fourth good trait.
I wish I could stay.
No problem.
I thought it started an hour.
No problem. No problem. Sure. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It's recorded, so if you want the end, you can always
Amazing.
vote for the group.
I do.
Okay. All right. My pleasure. Okay. And the fourth good trait. The fourth good trait is happiness. Happiness that is derived from the satisfaction with what one has, samer bechelko, and from serving God, as it is written, I rejoice at my word like one who finds great spoil. So here it is. That's the section from Arecham Vital that describes those 4 elements. Now, this is the beginning of being a Kabbalist. So the beginning of being a Kabbalist is really working on those 4 character traits. So how do you work on your 4 character traits? You get a notebook and you start applying the lessons of how to work on your character traits. So, so I got those notebooks for you. Oh, wait, you should take a notebook, and you'll and one like that, and then you'll watch and you'll see what you have to do. Okay?
Okay, oh my gosh. Thank
All right, my pleasure. Okay. Bye. Nice to meet you. Okay, who wants a notebook? Who wants to become a Kabbalist? Or start?
Should I hand them out?
Yeah, take everything.
All of them?
All of them. Sorry, I left the price on it so you know it's not expensive.
Pens also?
Yeah, the pens also. Now, you have to know, when I started working on that, because, you know, what's happening is that the Yetzirah does everything. The Yetzirah does everything for you not to your work on your character traits. Because he knows the moment you start working on your character traits, you are starting to become spiritual. You're on the path to real fixing of yourself and spirituality. Wait, I have one extra. I got this one for you because you spoke about love at the beginning, so I was supposed to be for you.
Thanks so much. That's really sweet.
Yes, my pleasure. We have exactly the right amount
Yeah.
of small. Yeah, exactly.
Of everything.
Amazing. I bought exactly the right amount.
And you gave
Yeah, I
one
got
to
my
her
one.
too.
That's Hashem. He said.
Ooh, you're good.
Hashem is good. He knows what he's doing.
This is so great.
Look at that. So,
I really like this.
yeah, my pleasure.
Oh man, I'm right, man.
So, guys, you have to know, the moment I started working on my character traits, and my Rebbe told me, he's gonna try to destroy you. Meaning, he's gonna do everything so you don't do it. He's gonna do everything so that you give up, and you don't make it serious and practical. So I developed a 4-week program designed for individuals to work on themselves or with their family. And if you want, for those who want really to work on it seriously, I have a little booklet on it that I can send you through email. You can print it. And so every week, so there are 4 weeks, and the reason there are 4 weeks, and that's my own interpretation, is because there are 4 traits to work on. And every week you're going to work on one of the 4. And every month you're going to go again through those 4 until by the end of the year you come Rosh Hashanah and say, Hashem, look, I've changed my character traits. Where I hope you can take me for another year and give me another level. You understand that every year that you achieve a certain level, Hashem rearranged all of creation for you to be able to achieve a higher level. And now we are almost in Elul, which is really the time to do tshuva and work on ourselves. And before you go on to Rosh Hashanah, you will have something to show God. You know, say, God, see that? That's me doing tshuva. That's me working on myself. And there's nothing more important for God than to work on your character traits, even more than learning Torah, as we learned from Rai Chaim Vital. The learning Torah only is worth it if you work on your character traits, because, as the Vinagan mentioned, if I'm not, I was created to fix at least one of the character traits, and I don't work at it, there's no point. There's no worth. Life is worthless. Okay. So, what is this for? This is for the week. So let's say the first week you start working on, let's say, sadness, right? You can choose which week to work on, but I think it's easier to go from sadness to anger, because it goes from, depends, for everyone is different, but from from less destructive to more destructive. Also, I believe in terms of working on oneself, if you start really on working on happiness, it will lead you to be more powerful in fixing the other character traits. So, you start the first week on sadness, right? And what do? You write on this the week of sadness. You can make a S, or if you don't want people to know, and you put one in your car, one on your forehead, and no, just kidding, not on your forehead, but one on next to your mezuzah. Each time you come home, when the mezuzah next to your door, one in the kitchen, one on the TV, right, or on your phone or whatever, and or when you wake up on your alarm clock, right next to it, and you wake up and your whole day is, I'm in the week of happiness. I don't know what sadness means, right? And wherever you go, at work and where, and so what are you gonna have? You're gonna have there all those things. You're not actually gonna write there the tool that you can work on. That's going to be for you, because you don't want people to know what you're working on. That's your private thing. So the little notebook is going to say the tool that you're going to use for that week. It can be 1 or 2 tools, right? Now, if you're curious to know what tool to use, or you're like, you don't find any, I have a list of tools. Don't worry. Right? About 20 to 50 tools per things. Obviously, the best is to have your own personal tool. So let's take an example. First weeks of sadness. So I have to work on sadness or laziness, and the opposite force to fix that is happiness and being happy with what I have. So on the first week, I'm gonna, on my little notebook, and that's my notebook that's like, I don't know, 15 years old, or at least 10 years old. I don't remember exactly when I did it. So I have here actually 4 sections, one for each week. And I wrote all my tools that I did. And then every week you add more and more things. So let's say it's the week of sadness. You say, this week I'm going to make a list every day of 5 things that I'm grateful for. Okay? And by the end, and you try to be conscious of it the whole day. Wherever you go, you see those little things, and you're conscious of that. Wow, I have health, I have friends, I have, a house, I have a roof, I have food to eat, I have someone who loves me, I have more than one person who loves me, right? I have, I look beautiful, or I can, right? So all the gifts that Hashem gives you, and you can go in very detail. In my kitchen, I have about 20 dishes. In the past, they used to have 1, if they did, right? You go in your closet and you say 20 pairs of shoes. In the past, they had 1 pair of sandals. We don't realize, go back to Russia 50 years ago. The Russians who came to America after the wall fell, and they went to America especially, and they entered for the first time a supermarket. A lot of them fainted to see the amount of food available in their little town. You had a queue of 20, 30 people with a little ticket where you can get 1 little bag of sugar and 1 little ration of milk, and there you had unlimited choices. So that's that little book. So what I advise you is, on the first page or whatever, write. Write the 4 weeks. Write on the first page. You can write first anger, unnecessary speech, desire for pleasure, and sadness. Right? Those are the 4 roots. You want to write it now? I think you should start writing now, because then they'll push you to practically.
What were the bottom 2? Anger, unnecessary speech.
And then the desire for pleasure and sadness. Yeah? Now, next to it or under it, as the counterbalance, is humbleness, silence, control of desires.
Discipline?
It's part of discipline, definitely. But here it says laughing at it, meaning you're able to really control it and say, "What's that?" I mean, like, I don't need that. It's not necessary, right? And control of one's desires, and then what do you say? Happiness. Happiness. Sameach b'chelko. So now that you have those four, so what do? You write, you're going to have your week, and you say, so you're going to write for, on the next page, week 1, whenever you want to start, whether it's tomorrow until Shabbos. The best is to go from Shabbos to Shabbos. And at the end of the week, on Shabbos, what do you do? On Shabbos, you celebrate what you have achieved. The moments where you were tempted to get angry or to be sad or to say things, and you resisted. Because when you are able to do that, it becomes a real Shabbos. Shabbos is the accomplishment of what you did during the week. What type of person you have been this week. So you come on Shabbos and you're actually celebrating your achievements. Look, God, it's no greater pleasure for God than working on your character traits, right? And changing who you are. You control your teva. You milmala min teva. And on Shabbat you make a lechaim. That's a good reason to drink, not just because it's alcohol, but no, you have a good reason to celebrate. Because then you will really be Sameach b'chelko. But because one is that you're celebrating on Shabbat if you didn't do anything. The whole thing of Olam Haba is that you're going to enjoy what you have done here. There's no Olam Haba if you don't do anything here, right? Olam Haba is, as the Mekubalim say, is what you're creating here now. You're the architect of your Olam Haba, of the future world to come. So whatever you do here, whatever you work on yourself, whatever you achieve, whatever you succeed, is what's gonna give you your Olam Haba. It's not like a, as people say, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek le'olam haba. Everybody thinks like, oh yeah, there's a place there it's written on it, Rabbi G, right? And you have the G carpet there on the entrance, and then you go, it's like, oh yeah, and there's 3 floors, and no, that's not Olam Haba, my friend. You don't know what Olam Haba looks like. Thank you so much. Thank you. Olam Haba is, you are gonna enter into a house, so to speak, right, or a garden, where you will be experiencing on a full level what you would have created here. Maybe let's say you have helped someone who really needed help, and you went really out of your way. You really did chesed. It was not comfortable for you. It was not easy, and you opened your house, right? And you made special brownies, delicious, like that. And you brought Divrei Torah into your home, right? Just like Arizal. And what are you going to see in Olam Haba? You're going to see a room full of Torah and happiness, and this is what you're going to experience there. But you're going to experience the full impact that all the people who were there are getting, and in the as well as all the the consequences of it that came from it. So this is really one of the greatest thing you can do, even though it looks very simple, and it's really the beginning of becoming a Kabbalist. Some people think being a Kabbalist is learning only Kabbalah and doing Kabbalistic stuff, but it really starts with that, because the books are very clear. your mind, you can read Zohar day and night, or any Kabbalistic work day and night, your mind will not be allowed or be able to understand the Kabbalistic teachings and text if your four elements are not refined and purified. It's as simple as that. So, even the guy who is unworthy, if you say someone who is really, really bad and he comes and he learns Kabbalah and say, how can you learn Kabbalah? It doesn't matter. He will never get it, right? Because his mind is verstopft. I don't know what you say. Clubbed up with it's a Flatbush guy. Thank you. So, right, it's clogged up with all types of dirt and whatever, and therefore his chokhmah will not be able to get the real chokhmah. So that's a little bit the idea. So I have a list again, just to give a few more examples on how to work at it. One example was to make a gratitude list every day. Another way is, and you can even check sometime on Google, on self-help books, all that. I have a good list already here. You can work on, let's say one of the things, the Ramchal, is the Ramchal? Who says that? Not the Ramchal? Maybe it's the Ramchal. Okay, I don't remember when I read it very recently. You run, wherever you go, you run to do it. You don't walk slowly. Yeah, I was listening, right.
First one in the Sharim.
Yeah, but I don't remember if he gives that example. It's definitely based on that anyway. So it's the root. You're right. So you just run. You're going to shul, run. It even says in Shulchan Aruch that you should run to shul. So why you don't see nobody running? Because they're not happy. Going to shul, we have to daven. I have to pray. No, it's not I have to pray. It's I want to pray. I want to speak to God. Hello. If you had the Arizal, the Ben Ishchai, the Baal Shem Tov, the Hashem, the Shechina, you really believe that it's there, it's waiting for your prayers, like you said in Gemara Brachos. Hashem is waiting in shul for you. Will you not run? We don't really believe it's true, maybe. So we need to work on our emunah, but that's the joy. Working on silence, you can work that week on maybe you can make a fast of silence one day, but that won't be every day, so it won't be so good. But you can make a fast of silence. You don't speak at all during davening, or you only say positive things about people during that week, or you only everybody you meet, you give them a compliment, right? So this using your power of speech in the proper way. Then the desire for pleasure. So you decide, I'm only gonna eat like the Rambam, 2/3 of my plate, and the rest is I don't really need it, right? Or I'm not gonna eat that and drink Diet Coke. No, this and water. Don't fake yourself, right? Right? Because first. So eat what you need. Don't eat things. Oh, I know that if I eat a bagel, I'm gonna be like that at work because of the digestive system is gonna slow me down, right? If you speak to an athlete, the athlete is gonna eat like super healthy and he's not gonna eat that type of cake. But we eat that type of cake because I'm not an athlete. Still not good for you, right? So you're supposed to be a spiritual athlete, right? So we have Hashem wants you to be in shape, not just America or the health institute or whatever all those advertising to slim fast or whatever, all the stuff, right? Hashem also wants you to not eat that extra piece of cake so you feel good about yourself when you look in the mirror, right? I mean, all of America is suffering from that. So one of the biggest things in America is eating disorder. It's very hard. So we have to do our part. That's part also of controlling our desire for pleasure. And anger, for example, one of the things you can do whenever you start feeling anger, then you bite your lips and you say, I won't talk, I won't fight back. Or you start singing. Because if you sing, there's no way you can get angry, right? or you start answering the person by singing, and then the thing dissolves. It's like, you're so ridiculous. Yes, thank you, right? Whatever. But you have to find something that works for you, obviously. But those are different ideas, and there are many more. One of the things that I do also when you put it on your notebook is you write what book. Or, what book you're going to read during this week. Meaning, let's say it's the week of anger. You're going to take one book on anger, and every day you read 2-3 lines. Or like a small chapter, whatever you're able to. And that's like also part of the mantra. And you'll see, I know when I was working on Lashon Hara, and I used to read every day a bit of the Sefer Chofetz Chaim, it's amazing the impact. Even 2-3 lines a day. Because not only you're aware that you have to be careful of your speech, but because you add every day a little thing, it becomes like completely part of you. So that's the things you do. You put the stickers everywhere where you know you're going for the week. You write down for the week what week it is, right? Put the date, and on Shabbos you look at your thing and say, okay, I was successful 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times. On this, and you celebrate with a big lechaim, and don't be afraid to share. And you write also the book that you have read, so that for the next month, when you start again that midah, you continue on that book, or you can change book. If you tried a tool and it didn't work, then write on a notebook, this tool didn't work, I need another one. You can use other people's tool, but sometimes you have to use your own tool. One other thing that the singing thing, that was my idea, but you can come with your own idea. Some people will start jumping, or doing like that. Whatever it is, there's something that works for you. Something where put your head in the water, cool you off, right? So those are all different ideas that you can get, and again, I can send you stuff by email if you want, but that's the beginning of the foundation of learning Kabbalah and becoming a Kabbalist, and to become the fifth element. So I thank you all for listening, and I hope you'll all be able to grow from it, and by Rosh Hashanah I won't even be able to recognize you, because you have changed so much your elements that you're shining. All right, my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Any questions?
What was one of the books, the book that you got?
Of-
Think about the elements. One
That I read?
before.
Rabbi Chaim Vital, Shari Kedusha, the English version. The
Shari
English is not. You have to be careful. You have to check with the
That's a
Hebrew.
really heavy book or something.
It's a heavy book, yeah. I mean, the first chapter it's fine. You can read it because it's mostly on Midos. But once it goes into second chapter, it's like that's real Kabbalah already.
So, you possibly break that down for us? Like, there are different...
Actually, started a group. The group that I started on Facebook, Authentic Jewish Kabbalah. So I'm teaching that.
Okay.
So you can go from the beginning and
Excellent. Thank you.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. Any
Thank you.
questions?